Welcome! Today we'll be talking about an amazing feature of Xamarin Forms called Shell. Now, if you remember very well, while designing our pages in Xamarin Forms, we have the option to use MasterDetailPage, TabbedPage, and we also have the option of NavigationPage. At a point, Xamarin Forms introduced BottomTab so that we can simulate the BottomTab navigation, which is default on iOS, can simulate it on the Android platform. But now Xamarin Forms has introduced a new feature called Shell, and with Shell is like master detail page, tab page, navigation page, bottom tab, navigation page, all together in one, which makes it easier for you to implement your pages the way you want it using the power of Shell. Now, before we continue, I will let me first of all show you the master detail page, how it looks like, and show you and later go ahead and show you the Shell features. So here I have Visual Studio 2019 open, and I'm going to create a new project. Here I'm going to select the Android platform so that I can have all the Android templates option here. So I select the mobile app, Xamarin Forms. Next, so let's call it app test. Now the essence of this is just to show you what you are familiar with, just to show you how we used to how we implement the master detail page. So I select the master detail page and select OK. I wait for the project to load. Let's wait for it to load. It's loading. Creating our project here. All right, so now we have the project created for us successfully. So we have the shared projects here. We have the Android platform and we have the iOS platform here. If we come here in our app.xaml.cs, we see that we have our main page here set to the instance of a main page. Now, this main page is actually our master detail page, and we can find it in the views folder. You can see this is the main page. Let's look at the XAML implementation of the main page. So you can see here we have the master detail page up here. Then we have the master section and we have the details section. We are all familiar with this. The details section has a navigation page, so we have options to use the navigation page of the details to navigate to other pages in the application while we maintain the master that contains the flyout. So if you come to our view models here, we can see that we have a view models for our master detail page. This item view model controls the items. You can see the observable collection of items. We see, let's go to the definition of our items. You can see it has a ID, text, and description. If we go to our let's go to the view. If you go to the master page, where's the master page now? Let me check. Okay, so it's the menu. So our master is the menu page. So let's go to the menu page here and see. Okay, so we can see that our main page contains a list of items. We just have item 1 and item 2 here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this the startup project to the iOS version. I am connected to my Mac currently, so I'm going to run this and let's see how it's going to look on the simulator. So I'm just going to go to my Mac here, and wait for the app to load. Alright, so we have the app loading presently. Okay, so now as it stands, we have this currently. If you click on the menu, we have a pop-up. Sorry, we have a fly out rather. Fly out. Okay, so now you can see we have the browse and we have the about. That is, those are the items that were declared in the menu page. And if you come back here, we have the browse. But if you look down here, we don't have the tab bar. This is because if you want a tab bar, we have to add a tabbed page to our project so that we can have the tab implementation here. But with shell, it is different. So let's go ahead now and see how it looks like using shell. I'm going to stop this right now, and let's go to File, New Project, Platform, Android, Xamarin Forms. Next, so let's call it App Shell Tests. It's not the prettiest name, but I think this would do for now. Create. Now at this point, instead of using the master detail page, I'm going to use the shell template. Let's click OK and wait for the project to load. Yeah, so we have our app shell test project loaded successfully. And if you look here, it's similar to the master detail page. We have the shared projects, we have the Android, and we have the iOS. And if you come here, we can still see our app.xaml, and looking at our project structure, we can still see the views, and we have the view models. If you come to the views, we have some pages here. We have the item details page, we have the items page, and we have the new items page. Those are some of the pages that were auto-generated while we select the shell template. Now, what I want to point your attention to is the app shell. If you notice, this is new here, and if you come to our app.xaml.cs, we see that our main page is set to a new instance of the app shell, which is the app shell that we have here. Instead of, if we are using the master detail page, then our main page will be set to a new instance of the master detail page. But in this case, is set to a new instance of the app shell. So this is how you go about it if you are implementing the app shell. So it's similar to what you are used to. It's nothing new. So let's go to our app shell and see how it looks like. Now, coming to our app shell, let me collapse this. I'll come back to it. Coming to our app shell, you see that it's very, very concise, and it's unlike the master detail page that is very clumsy. Has a master page details section also. So here we have this is the portion that declares all our pages, all the pages that we have in our shell. So here we have the tab bar, we have the tab, and we have the shell contents. Now this is something I want to let me quickly do some clarification here. If you have been following shell right from start, you notice that we have shell item, shell section, and shell content. Now in the new release of Xamarin Forms 4.0, let me bring it up here for you to see. We can see what's new in this release. Let me just quickly go down and see that tabs is back. Tabs came back rather. We can see okay, let me go back to notable changes for us to see somewhere here. Okay, so now you can see here shell item is now fly out item or tab bar, depending on your usage. I will explain the differences. Then shell section is now tab. So let's go back to, let me move this out. So that this now is our shell item, this is our shell section. Now this tab bar can also be fly out, and I'll tell you the difference between the two. Now the difference is, if you are using the tab bar, then you're not going to have a fly out. But if you're using a fly out item, then you will have a fly out. So that's just a difference. So fly out, we have a fly out item. If you have fly out item here, say fly out item, what you're going to have at the end of the day is a tab at the bottom and a fly out. But if you have just the tab bar here, you're just going to have the tab bar section. So let's run this and see. So let me start with the tab bar first, and let's see how it looks like. I'm going to change my startup project to iOS and run this. So it's running. Let's wait for it to run, to load, to run, to build. Building. Okay, so going to my Mac here. Let's see it's load. Okay. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, we have the tab bar here. We have the browse and we have the about. We have the browse and we have the about. But if you look here, there is no Hamburger Menu, and you cannot drag any fly out of this. So I'm going to close this now. Let's close this. I'm going to uninstall this, and the reason for doing this is that if I should go ahead and run this project again, there's a tendency for the simulator to cache the application. So it's from experience. Anytime I want to do something new, I try to delete it from the emulator first before running it. So if you find yourself in a situation whereby you change something in your XAML or you change something in your code, and when you try to run in the emulator, it's not reflecting the changes, my advice is that you uninstall it from the emulator or the simulator, as the case may be. Uninstall it first and then run it. It's going to save you a lot of headache. So I'm going to change this now to fly out item, and I'm going to save and run. Okay, so what I'm going to do, okay, let me just go to my Mac and see. This is still not showing. You know, like I said, this thing can be a pain in the butt sometimes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close all this. Still, I'm going to delete this. I tell you, this can be frustrating sometimes. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean the solution and I'm going to run it again. Let's see the difference. Let's see. Okay, so let me go to my Mac and wait for it to load. It's loading. You see, now we have our Hamburger Menu. So if you find yourself trying to check out a new thing that you've changed something in your XAML and it's not reflecting, just uninstall from the simulator, clean your solution and run again. I'm telling you, it's going to save you a lot of headache. So clicking on our hamburger, you see we have the fly out, but our fly out does not contain anything. Now if you look down here, we still have our tab bar. So shell will give you the flyout. Okay, if you're using the flyout item, you're going to have the flyout and the tab bar. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go back to Visual Studio. Let's populate our flyout with some items. So to do that, we're going to have title. Let's give this a title, say what can we give it now? Let's just say default, or let's say home. Okay, so to avoid any trouble, let me clean, and clean succeeded. Let me run this. Okay, so I'm going to switch to my Mac now and see how it looks like. So let's click on our Hamburger Menu. Now you see we have home here. Now, so what this means is that you can have different flyout item that has different sections. So here you will have all your flyouts listed here, and each of your flyouts can have different section, and those section, which is called tab, can will represent the tabs that will be on that section. So okay, to demonstrate that, let's just do something. Let's do something quickly. Let's just do something quickly. I'm going to stop this now. So in our view, let's add a new say a new page, a new content page. Let's call it what should we call it? Let's call it profile page, and say okay, welcome to Xamarin Forms. Let's change it to welcome to profile page. Then I'm going to add another page, content page. Let's call it what can we call it now? Privacy page. Yeah, let's call it private. So let's call it privacy page. So same way, we just say welcome to privacy page, and to save. Now this is what I'm going to do. I want to add a new flyout item to our shell. So I'm going to go say flyout item, give a title. Let's call it title, say settings. I don't have any icon now. Okay, so let's do this. Then I'm going to have two tabs. So let me just copy this tab for sake of time. So one is going to be privacy, title privacy. I don't have any icon, so I'm just, well, we can set the icon if you like. Let me set this to profile. I don't have any icon for these two. And our data template is set to local. So local here is referencing our views. If you can see here, our local is referencing the namespace of the view. So from here I can have access to the privacy page. So I have access to local privacy page, and I have access to local profile page. Okay, so let's clean just to avoid any issue, and Yes, clean succeeded. Let's run this. And check what we have eventually. Okay, so it's running. I'll switch to my Mac here and wait for it to load in the simulator. Okay, so let's click on our tab. Yes, as you can see, we have the home and we have the settings. If I click on the settings, sorry, excuse me, I'll click on something different. This is like a pain in the butt right now. Okay, drag this out, click on settings. Click on settings, you see we have welcome to privacy. So privacy down here, we don't have an icon, that's why it's not showing. So welcome to privacy. Then you can come here and click on profile. Clicking on profile, you see we have welcome to profile page. Here we can have different flyouts that will take you to different section, and those sections you can have tabs. So if I come back to home right here, let's come back to home. So come back to home, you see we have this, we have our browse and we have our about. So that is the power of shell. Now the last thing I want to talk about, I just want to show you before we wrap up this video, is these resources. Now here you can define different properties to control your shell. We have the background color, the foreground color, the title color, disable color. Then for your tab, these are the properties controlling the colors of your tab: the background color of the tab, the tab bar rather, the foreground color of the tab bar, the unselected color, and the title color. So with this you can set different colors for your tab bar, for the background and the title color, the unselected color, and the title color, the background color, foreground color. So you can go ahead and change some of these properties to see how it looks like. So this is the end of this video. In the next video we will be looking at how to implement shell from scratch. We'll be implementing our pages. We are not going to use the shell template. We'll start from the blank template and build our shell from ground up. I'll try as much as possible to make it very interesting. We'll work from a prototype and implement it together. So thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sticking with me for the past 27 minutes. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up by liking it. Also subscribe to this channel so that when I upload other videos you get notified. We upload videos every Wednesday and every Sunday. And if you want to support us so that we can do more videos, you can do that by going to our Patreon page. The link is in the description below. On Patreon you can donate whatever you like. You can specify a donation of your choosing. You can cancel your donation anytime. You can choose any amount that you want. This will help us to continue to make this video great time and do awesome videos like this. So the link will be in the description below. And thank you to all our Patreon supporters. Thank you for donating. We appreciate you. You guys rock. Thank you so much. So we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.